Yeah, so every month that we pull together these business workshops. So it's always the third Thursday of each month. On occasion, we have to reschedule for, depending on the availability of our presenters. Usually it's a lot of good topics, but this is brought to you by Heartland Workforce Solutions, as well as Haram is a great partner of us in helping to put together these topic areas. And so today's agenda, we're going to be learning a little bit more about HWS. We'll do a quick overview of that. Then we're going to jump into Omaha area labor market data and resource tools. We'll talk about some of the most in-demand jobs and industries right now. We'll talk about hiring struggles, talk about benefits analysis, and then there'll be a Q&A as well at the end. But as we're talking through all of this, feel free to ask questions along the way. And there's multiple ways that you can do that. You can raise your hand. Not literally, but like on the Zoom thing, there's a little thing at the bottom of your screen that allows you to raise your hand. That way we can unmute you. You can ask a question that way. You could also put a question into the chat. And then there's also a really cool Q&A feature in the menu at the bottom of your screen that allows us to just see each question individually and make sure that we're answering all of them. That's probably the best way to submit your questions as we go, but I encourage you to use any of those three methods.
Awesome. So just a little quick overview about Heartland Workforce Solutions. We are the designated local workforce development board serving 3 counties, so Douglas, Sarpy, Washington County, under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And as you can see, our mission is really to promote the development of workforce, not only for job seekers, but for employers like yourself. And so really building that connection between qualified job candidates and employers who have open positions, as we will discuss today. We're located at 5752 Ames Avenue, right next to that Planet Fitness in that little plaza. And we are soon, it's on the next slide. I got a little too excited there. We'll be expanding to South Omaha really soon. We're really excited about that. To have a presence in South Omaha and learn about the community and how we can continue to serve. And, a lot of the things that we're doing at this location, we're hoping to be able to move to that location, obviously tweaking some things to be able to accommodate language, and hopefully we'll have some more of these better business workshops hosted there as well. And so hopefully end of October, crossing our fingers, right, with construction and permits and all of that, but we're really excited for that opening, and you all will be definitely informed of when that happens.
And you can see on your screen too, like the building that we're remodeling there, it's going to be night and day difference. We're super excited about this. It's on South 24th Street. It's about a block north of South High School. Used to be a funeral home. Now it's going to be a job center. And you can see, like, with the drawings there, the building and that neighborhood are going to benefit immensely from what we're doing. And October is our goal, and maybe a little bit after that, but it'll be soon. And so we're super excited about that. And then there's so many ways to stay connected with HWS and what we're doing. Jasmin is like the queen of all of these things with social media. She's usually the one putting out the content. And so there's a number of different ways you can connect with us. Our digital newsletter, which is mostly focused on the employer side of things. You can sign up for that right on our website. It'll roll into your email box every month, right at the start of the month. It's got all of our upcoming events, all of the different ways you can partner with us, whether that's through career fairs, spotlighting your business in our resource room, doing other hiring events, volunteering to help us sometimes with some of our workshops that we do for job seekers, such as resume assistance or interviewing skills or any of that. And then typically in that newsletter as well, we'll highlight key programs because there are so many programs under our roof. As the American Job Center, we have about 15 different partner programs. Some of those are federal programs, some state, some local, some foundationally supported programs. that serve almost every demographic that's out there. We've got youth focused programs, we've got programs for seniors, we've got programs for individuals with disabilities, all kinds of great programs. And so that newsletter highlights some of those things as well. And you can connect with us that way. Also, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can catch us on TikTok now. We're hoping, that Threads takes off because we just started an account on there as well. So lots of good ways to connect with us.
Yeah, I think Stan covered it all really well. And I think, we're able to post everything on our socials. And so it's just an easy avenue if you're not logged into your email or the newsletter. I think it's, it pops up on your feed. And if you're able to like and share or comment anything, it helps get the word out there about all the great work that is being done.
So as we jump into some of the content for today, one thing we'll do is do a couple polls throughout the day. And so the first one is, I'm going to launch it right now. Just curious if this is your first time attending an HWS Better Business Workshop, just simple yes or no answer on this one. We're hoping, as each month goes by, that we get more and more people that are new, as well as keeping and retaining those individuals that have attended previously. Yeah, so wouldn't mind just taking a second. And it looks like today we've got a pretty good mix, kind of almost 50-50 of folks that are attending for the first time versus people who've been here before, our longtime friends. And so whether you're new friends or old friends, we thank you for being here today. So appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing when it comes to trends at HWS. And so a lot of you may have, been paying attention to the unemployment rate in Nebraska, in Omaha. It's super low, that. We're always one of the leading states when it comes to low unemployment rates. And so, running a job center, you may think, well, is anybody actually going through the doors? Are you seeing people walk through? Are there people that are ready and to find employment? And the answer is absolutely yes. We're still seeing a lot of people walk through our doors. So, on a day-to-day basis, we'll see anywhere from, on the low end, about 60, on the high end, about 160. It fluctuates by day of the week. And so Mondays and Tuesdays are going to be our busiest days at the job center. And again, we're talking about the job center on Ames Street right now. Once we open up that other job center on 24th Street and have the two locations, it'll be really interesting to see how those numbers play out there as well. But Mondays and Tuesdays are our busiest days. And so those are the days where we're more on, the 120 to 150 people. By Thursday and Friday, those numbers are closer to 70 or 80 people. And one of the reasons why those numbers fluctuate is a lot of folks that are coming through our doors are applying for unemployment insurance. And so, the earlier in the week that you file, the earlier you can receive your payment. And so that makes a lot of sense why people are coming in on Mondays and Tuesdays. As part of that, we offer employer spotlights on Mondays and Tuesdays where you can sign up. You can set up a table in our resource room. You can talk to job seekers as they come in, because obviously if someone is filing for unemployment, they're probably looking for a job, and so everyone that's walking through our doors on some level is looking for either a better job or, their next job. And so good opportunity to connect with us on those days. Also, the other thing that I would highlight as well when we're talking about the unemployment rate and number of job seekers coming through the door, even though that unemployment rate may be super low, it's one of those things where it's a constant stream of new folks coming on to those numbers and old folks going off. And so it may be 2.1%, but from one week to the next, it could be a mostly different 2.1% of folks that are counted in those numbers. And there's also a lot of people that don't include themselves in those numbers, people who may have taken time off to take care of children or other dependents within their families. And so they're not counted necessarily in that unemployment rate. However, they could potentially, be open and somewhat looking for a job. And so sometimes there are some hidden numbers that are out there and some hidden folks that we try our best to connect with as well that may not be included in those numbers.
And so as we look at some more information that is really detailed for our Omaha MSA area, you can see that the top occupations were really healthcare focused. So RNs, also the public school system, nursing assistants, a lot of retail customer service there. We are fortunate to get all of this information from the labor market, from the Department of Labor. Jody Meyer is always great about helping us understand and walking us through this labor market information. She did mention, LPNs were on this list, for the past few months. And then just recently they're not on there anymore. And just based on different conversations that we've had, it's still in the top 20, but just not on the top 10 anymore, which was interesting to hear. And so with that, you can see that the top employers here in Omaha are, like OPS and a lot of the big health systems here with some customer service as well. So again, this is all courtesy of the Nebraska Department of Labor, the labor market information.
And one thing that's been consistent forever is registered nurses is that number one occupation. I mean, that's just been super consistent for years now. It's also across the board, nationally. I think it's something like 45 out of the 50 states have that as the number one occupation, most in demand. And as Jasmin pointed out, the LPN numbers fell off a little bit, but we are also seeing like the physician numbers go up, and so it's not as if healthcare numbers are going down. We can continue to see that demand, and it's reflected in all of those employers listed on the right side of the screen. I mean, look at all of those major healthcare organizations. So the data on this slide is definitely super interesting because these are numbers coming from AnyWorks. And so if you're unfamiliar with AnyWorks, it is the state's labor exchange system. So the Nebraska Department of Labor manages that system. The jobs listed here include jobs that are directly entered into AnyWorks, as well as jobs that are spidered in. So for example, if someone lists the job on LinkedIn or Indeed, AnyWorks is able to go out there, analyze that job, compare it to other jobs, see if it's a different job than what's already posted, and then pull it in. And so these are all unique jobs. None of them should be duplicated. So when we're talking about unique jobs in the Omaha metro area, you can see 19,223 unique jobs as of August 15th. So that's just like one day. You search in AnyWorks, that's how many jobs would be available right now, or close to it in AnyWorks. The numbers on the left side include all of the jobs, the unique jobs for a full month period in the Omaha metro area. So sometimes a job is posted for 7 days, sometimes it's 3 weeks, sometimes it's 6 weeks, depending on how quickly an employer can find a candidate. And so, that 19,223 jobs on an individual day turns out to be about 40,000 or more jobs over the course of a month that are unique. And so that's challenging when you're talking about 40,000 competitive jobs over the course of a month in the Omaha metro area. So, and that number has gone down a little bit since last year. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Looking at those numbers, you kind of hope that the population of Omaha goes up a bit so that we can meet that demand a little bit better.
And so, yeah, we have all of these job openings, right? But our unemployment level is still pretty low. So at a 2.2, in Nebraska as a whole at 2.1, and then Lincoln and Grand Island coming in at a 2.0. So as you can see here, the really COVID, that's a really big distinctive point up there, but we are getting back down to a little better than before COVID. So that's good to see.
Yeah, and those numbers are pretty consistent too. I mean, the Omaha area, the Omaha metro area is usually just a tiny bit ahead, tiny bit higher in unemployment than Lincoln or Grand Island. So that's been pretty consistent. So looking at different things here when it comes to the total number of individuals in the labor force. So that includes everyone that's working right now in the Omaha MSA. We're at a historic high of, all-time measurements right now. So 514,640 people included in that number. And so that includes everyone who is either employed or wants to be employed and identifies themselves as actively looking for employment. So if you add the two numbers up on the right side of your screen, the employment numbers plus the unemployment numbers, that number should equal the labor force that's on the left side of your screen. And so when you have, that historic high on the employment side of things, and then close to it, a historic low on the unemployment side of things, it gives you that historic high on the total amount in the labor force. Again, this doesn't quite include everyone who could potentially be working. There are some folks that aren't included here that, don't indicate that they're actively looking for employment, but maybe open to that opportunity. So again, opportunities to connect with both individuals who are unemployed and individuals who may have taken themselves out of the labor force. You want me to hit on this one, Jasmin?
Oh, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So one of the things that we use for a lot of our programs is just this MIT calculator. And so with MIT, we're talking about the university that's just outside of Boston. That is fantastic university, but they put together this calculator that you basically plug in your zip code, your MSA information, and it gives you what a reasonable living wage would be based off of your household composition. And so that's what this chart is. But this is focused on Omaha Council Bluffs. So basically what this says is the living wage for one adult and one child is about $33.33 per hour. For a single adult by themselves would be $16.86. Also included in there is the poverty wage. So that wage as well as current minimum wage. And since that is going up in Nebraska, this slide is a little bit out of date when it comes to the minimum wage. I think that they've probably updated that on the MIT site. But when we grabbed the slide, it was from before the minimum wage went up. And so you can see the different household compositions. Again, this is a good tool if you want to take a look at really, how best to compensate your employees. We try to match similar levels when we're building programming here to make sure that we're compensating people effectively.
Yeah, and we can make these slides available after as well in case you want to go through again and click on some of those links to get some real data there too. And like we mentioned before, this is something that is provided from the Nebraska Department of Labor. And so I know Jody presents to us and helps us understand this information a little bit. But the July numbers will be coming out tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that with some more updated information regarding labor market information. And so they touch on hiring, retention, and benefits. And so we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that here. And all of this information, again, is available on that website, on the NDOL website.
And so these are two really big studies that have been done previously by the Nebraska Department of Labor's Office of Labor Market Information. And sometimes they collaborate with University of Nebraska as well in some of these studies. So on your left, you've got a labor availability study, which will happen every few years within the Omaha area. They kind of do that around the state and they take one area at a time, reach out to people in that area, ask them a bunch of questions about everything from how much they'd be willing to commute for a new job to all kinds of different things. And so, there's some great information in there. The other one, though, is a statewide report. That benefits report is something that I think that may be the first time that I've seen it done by them. Perhaps they've done it in the past, but it really focuses in on the benefit side of things and what businesses are offering when it comes to benefits to their employees. And so it's a really fascinating study. And as you're trying to compete for talent, it's a good opportunity to take a look at what other businesses that are similar to yours are offering people, as well as the value that people put on certain employees put on certain benefits compared to others. Which actually may be a good time for us to ask a couple polling questions. Now that I think about it, let me do that. Let me launch this one right now. So I think this is a two-parter. So the first part is, on a scale of 1 through 7, how difficult is it for you to hire individuals right now? 1 being not difficult at all, 7 being extremely difficult. And then on the second part of the question is, how difficult, same scale, is it to retain existing employees right now? And so I'm just curious as to what you're seeing in your world, in your industries. And usually I do a 1 to 5 scale or a 1 to 10 scale. I always seem to get the same results. And so I decided to change it up a bit and do a 1 through 7 to confuse everybody. Yeah, so I'm kind of curious as to what people are seeing. I feel like we've all been conditioned to the 1 through 5 scale on Amazon, and so everybody like automatically clicks 4 or 5. And so I was like, how can I change this up? I'm gonna do 1 through 7. All right, give you a few more seconds to answer these questions.
We've got someone in the chat say I'm at an 8.
Yeah, I believe him too. So yeah, it's mostly, so when we're talking about hiring individuals, mostly either in the middle at 4 and 5, or quite a few people actually answered 7. It's extremely difficult to hire. When we're talking about retention of individuals, we have everything answered. A 1, a few in the middle range. We've got some 7s. So a little all over the place when it comes to retention. So it looks like there's more difficulty on the hiring end right now than the retention end, if I'm reading these results correctly. So good stuff to know.
And Stan, we did have a question pop up here. So it said, how do employers access the tool for comparative compensation rates?
So that benefits study is available. So on the Any Work site that I mentioned, not only can you go in there and look for employment, but you can also access all of these tools. There's a section for labor market information, and they've got all of these tools listed there, including this study. We've put quite a few of these tools as well on the HWS website at hws-ne.org. There's a page called Labor Market Information. And so either way, you can access these studies. With these ones, it's more of an actual report rather than a comparative tool that you can go in there and like slide things around, but still really good information that you can take a look at.
Awesome.
Oh, and it looks like, do you see the other thing? Go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Sarah, Alicia from Haram also said that Haram has the salary and benefits survey available for purchase. That was just released, and she put that link in there, so I can copy that and put it in the chat for everyone to see.
These are good questions. Yeah, keep the questions coming. This is good stuff. So I kind of covered this a little bit before, but that labor availability study, what it is it's from funds that have been made available by the Nebraska legislature. It allows that Office of Labor Information, Labor Market Information at the Nebraska Department of Labor to pull together data all around the state. So to help with the development of different job upskilling programs, to help with economic development as a whole, to understand what's happening in different areas. And so obviously, for the group that's probably in attendance here, it's mostly Omaha area folks. That Omaha specific labor availability study is going to be key to what you want to look at. However, if you're interested in other areas of the state, there are those individual labor availability studies that are out there and on AnyWorks, and you can look at Lincoln, you can look at Grand Island, you can even look at one that we did in the past when I was with the Department of Labor that focused on kind of the Sydney area when a lot of things were happening with Cabela's and Bass Pro Shop. There was a specific labor availability study focused on that area. And so sometimes it's based off of kind of the regular rotation. Sometimes it's based off of a specific need within the state, but those new labor availability studies come out pretty regularly.
Yeah, and so like Stan was saying, those labor availability studies, we're able to figure out some reasons for difficulty hiring, workforce skill levels, benefits, and then also in regards to labor availability, so barriers to obtaining those trainings, how willing were people to commute to work or teleworking. I know remote working is something that is a little more popular now and more accessible to employers and employees. So some important factors and obstacles when considering jobs. And so we'll be able to see some of those answers and some of those results here in this presentation, along with figuring out, both ends of the spectrum, the surplus and deficits in workforce and education opportunities. So.
All right. So, when we're talking about the different areas that are of focus with these labor availability studies, you can see with the Omaha area, kind of those counties and those areas surrounding Omaha that are highlighted of where those studies went out to. And so that information is kind of based off of, commuting patterns into the local MSA, as well as other spending patterns and things like that align those surrounding counties with an MSA. And so that's where the surveys would go out. And I apologize, I keep taking like sips of my water. I've been sick all week, and so I'm just trying not to lose my voice. I'm not really that worried about being hydrated or anything. It's just love my water, you know how it is.
And so with the hiring difficulty in our area, specifically Omaha area, you can see that 84.1% of employers reported that it was difficult to find at least one, at least in one occupation. And those top 10 occupations there, as you can see, are those like installation, maintenance, repair, construction, food preparation, so sales and related. So a few of those that we saw on those top occupations needed in our Omaha area, and 71.6% of frequently hired jobs were difficult to fill. And so some of the top 10 industry reporting hiring difficulty were the same ones we saw earlier with construction, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, transportation, and in the finance and insurance area as well.
So this lines up with the polling question that we did earlier too, with 84.1% of employers saying it was difficult to hire somebody in at least one position. I mean, it is hard right now. And it's also a reflection of all of those jobs that are available in the Omaha metro area right now. The 20,000 jobs that are available right now as of today, or the 40,000 unique jobs over the course of any month. There's a lot of competition out there.
Yeah, and I also think it kind of validates employers in a way, like you're not the only one that's going through this hard time right now. It's multiple employers and multiple sectors. So I think it's kind of validating in a way as well.
So if anyone has any ideas of how we can get like 30 to 40,000 new people to move to Omaha, it would be really fantastic. I mean, my car's got room for like 4 more people that I could help, relocate or something if we could just find them. But honestly, that's probably what we would need as a community, is about 30,000 more people to really help meet the needs that are out there. And so that's always a challenge too, because you want to see businesses grow, you want to see the economy continue to grow. And especially if it's a lot of the middle to high skill jobs that are missing. I mean, well, really all of the jobs. It's hard to grow when you're asking people to do, 2 or 3 jobs, because you're having a hard time to filling those positions. So it's super challenging. And this slide here talks about some of the reasons employers are seeing when it comes to hiring difficulties. So number one is just simply not enough applicants. So that might reflect not enough people, not enough applicants. Wage demands are too high, lack of work experience, poor work history, lack of occupational specific skills at the top. So we actually have a poll question that reflects this as well. And let's see if what our results are, if it lines up with this slide or not. So go ahead and choose as many of these as you want to, but what are the most difficult parts of hiring an employee right now? So is it lack of soft skills, lack of technical skills, salary competition, benefit competition, not enough people applying, lack of childcare available during work hours, lack of people with the right certifications or education, again, or other, and choose as many as you want to. What issues are you facing?
And if there are others, feel free to throw them in the chat too, so we
Yeah.
can let everyone else know.
Please do. All right, so I am seeing everything answered, basically.
Yeah.
The one that actually nobody checked the box was benefit competition, but salary, pretty much everybody said salary. But not enough people applying, and salary are the top 2 that we're seeing, which is exactly what this slide is showing, as well. So you're not alone. Other people are feeling the exact same pressure points as you are. It really is those top 2 things that have been consistent.
And so this is where it comes to like, what are businesses doing to, address the difficulty hiring? And some actions that businesses have taken are increasing pay, which 90% of businesses have done, and increasing benefits comes in second. Use workforce system resources. Reduced work experience requirements, I know, has been a big one that I've heard just from my conversations with employers, specifically Lozier. I know they used to have like a tape measuring test, and they've kind of bypassed that now with being able to, teach it on the job and be able to just make those changes to be able to hire right away. So hiring intern and temporary workers, reducing education experience requirement, and offering telework coming in at 11%. And so with this, you can see that 8,451, which is with the 66% estimated number of businesses in the Omaha area, increased pay to address hiring difficulty. So that is a lot for our Omaha area, I think, and just, brainstorming and thinking of different ways of how to address this need. And then
I was going to mention one thing to remember is this data is a couple years old. And so I would say that especially in the last 18 months, a lot more companies have increased those wages as well to keep up with inflation, and to stay competitive. And so I'd be interested to see a more recent data on that. And also that offering telework thing at the end. Jasmin, did you see the question in the chat, or the statement in the chat?
Oh, yeah, we're looking for roles to be based in office versus remote/hybrid and challenges with candidates who want fully remote.
And I think that that's a common challenge that a lot of businesses are seeing right now. During the pandemic, so many people got used to working from home. It's become more and more common. So again, some of this data you're going to see on these slides is 2 or 3 years old, and so it may not totally reflect some of the benefits that are being sought out by employees right now or potential employees. And oftentimes we hear that a lot about individuals wanting fully remote jobs. Jasmin and I talk about this a lot. She knows that I love to just kind of wander around and talk to people, and so a fully remote job for me is not what I want. I like working from home a couple days a week, but I need that socialization side of things too, and so that is a big challenge.
And this slide really covers some of the benefits that are offered to employees, and the top one being paid vacation leave, which I think is important for that work-life balance sometimes. And then, for part-time workers, it's that retirement. So benefits regarding retirement for part-time, and, paid holiday leave coming in second for full-time employers, health insurance, so some of those standard benefits there. And then I think it's a nice surprise sometimes when you're a part-time worker and realize that there are some benefits even though you are part-time and not full-time. And so, being able to take some vacation while being a part-time worker or have some sick leave, even though you are part-time, kind of comes in handy sometimes.
Sorry, my Alexa randomly turned on by itself there. So, and as part of that too, do you want to go back to the last slide, Jasmin? Just want to highlight like one thing on there. So again, like on the left side, there's the full-time benefits that are being offered by a lot of employers. So anything in green there really shows, some of the, the major benefits that are being offered, completely there. And so it's, the traditional stuff, the vacation, the holiday. But again, these charts are a couple years old. So I would say, in some of our conversations with businesses, we're seeing increases in a few other things. I would say we're seeing increases in businesses offering childcare assistance. I would also say that we're seeing, creative ways to pay for more, health insurance side of things to stay competitive. We've talked to some businesses that have increased that to almost 100% of the cost to have that as an additional benefit to their employees. But I don't know. I think is there anything that stands out to you, Jasmin, on these charts as far as our conversations with businesses and what they're offering that might be newer or unique to what we're seeing in these charts?
Yeah, I think, I don't see it on here, but just even trainings, like the previous slide, they're not requiring that, experience from before. Like they're willing to train on the job and utilize some of our workforce programs to make that happen. And I think that's been really cool to see, to be able to fill those hard positions, open positions, and take advantage of workforce programs and implement that and make changes to fill those.
I'd also say, like with the tuition reimbursement, I think a lot of organizations are getting better at that too. When you see like the Amazons and the Walmarts and the Targets of the world offering their employees really decent tuition assistance benefits for some major colleges now, it's kind of tough competition when they've also raised their wages as well. And so as you see more of those bigger organizations offering more competitive tuition assistance programs, we're seeing some smaller organizations needing to adjust, the funding that they're putting into professional development for their employees in order to stay competitive with, again, the Walmarts and the Targets and the Amazons of the world.
Yeah, another quick note there is some things that I've seen are employers making the benefits available on after day one. So not waiting the 90 days. It's like, you start today and your benefits start today. So if you're sick or you're able to utilize that right away, which is kind of neat too. And so
So
some of the things that are important to job seekers that you might think is pretty basic, but salary comes in number one as being the most important, deciding factor as to whether somebody stays or takes the job or even applies for the job. Job security. So, if there's, jobs that are based on contracts, they're really looking at that to see if it's more of a stable job or if it's like something that's renewed or reconsidered. Being able to utilize their existing skills, I think, is important too. And I think it comes off at number on our list there is number 3, but it comes in at 40.4%. The other one is paid vacation. So being able to take that rest and be able to recharge and come back ready and to give yourself wholly to your job, I think is important. And we see retirement benefits as being really important as well. And on the opposite side of that, you see, let's see, you see some of those like paid sick leave or opportunity for advancement. Those are, at 6.6%, 7.7% as not important at all, which I think is interesting to see as well. On the other end of that retirement benefits, that's at an 8.2, which is the biggest one on that scale. So just some food for thought there on what was found out there.
And then again, this focuses in on those important factors from the job seeker perspective as well, where the green is very important and the yellow is a regular level of important. So I kind of look at the green and then the dark blue and do that comparative analysis of what is very important versus what is not important at all. It's kind of weird that like 13% of people said that health insurance wasn't important at all. I just like, okay, well, sounds like you're in pretty good health then. But understanding where that shows up at such a high percentage of being very important. And so, a lot of these things seem pretty obvious with health insurance and dental insurance and paid leave being up there at the top as being priorities for people as they look for new employment or retain existing employment. The public transportation thing, we don't have great public transportation in Nebraska as a whole, so that might be playing into some of those numbers. But the people that are in need of public transportation to get to where they're going are very in need of it, and so that is a key thing that we think about a lot as we work with businesses, because that can be a big barrier for a lot of job seekers. And so again, just looking at that and saying, oh, well, importance of being close to a bus route may or may not, be a key priority for your business. But, it depends on the job seekers that you're looking at. And a lot of job seekers do have that as a barrier. So the closer you can be to good public transportation can really increase the pool of talent that you can choose from. So yeah, good information on here. Again, if you guys have any questions as we go through this, feel free to drop them into the chat.
Yeah, and so moving on to job satisfaction factors for employed potential job seekers. So these are job seekers who are, reporting on their satisfaction of their current jobs. And so job security is or it has them very satisfied. And then working from home comes in, I think, second there, working from home, teleworking opportunities. And then you can see company values comes in at 26.7% there. And kind of looking at the other side of this, very dissatisfied. I think the highest one there is the work from home and teleworking opportunities. I'm sure this has shifted a little bit since, a lot of this has become more prevalent in today's world. But I think that was kind of interesting to see too.
And then this is job satisfaction, but this one's by industry. And so this is for opportunities for advancement. That's a specific question area that was asked, is how satisfied are you with the opportunities within your industry for advancement? And so again, looking at the green, these are folks that are feeling pretty satisfied within their industries. And so that information, the IT side of things, 77.3%. That's a pretty big number for folks that are pretty satisfied there. Looking at the low end of things, manufacturing, transportation and warehousing, healthcare. There may be some, relatively high levels of dissatisfaction with the opportunities for advancement within those industries. So that may be also, indicative of what you're seeing within your specific industry. Is, we've seen before that, folks are going to stick around a little bit longer if there's good opportunities for advancement within their organizations. And so that is also, there's different results by different industries here.
And so this one is a little more detailed there for opportunities for advancement, depending on how long they've been working there. So as you can see, 6 years plus is the 58.4% there of being satisfied, and less than a year was 59.2% there. So I think that's cool. And then in regards to the healthcare and social services workers, I know sometimes we see that as a little burnout sometimes, or like to get to that point a little faster just because of the nature of their work. So, less than a year is a 62.7% satisfaction. And then 6+ years, it's 52.8%. So.
And then looking at obstacles to employment. So these are factors preventing workers from finding or accepting new employment opportunities. Number one that was indicated is work schedule flexibility. Inadequate pay offered by local area employers is the second. Required relocation. And then inadequate benefits at local area employers. So again, salary, benefits are up there, as well as relocation and work schedule flexibility.
And speaking of relocation, so this is their willingness to move. So the percent of potential job seekers who would accept a job outside of Nebraska if a suitable job was available. So in our area here in Omaha, there's a 33.1% who said they would accept a job outside of Nebraska. And then percent of potential job seekers indicating the lack of job opportunities in their local area was an obstacle to changing jobs or re-entering the workforce. There, our Omaha area came in at 46.6%.
So it looks like people in Fremont are happy with where they're at. I don't know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's more of like the small town feel, everyone's comfortable, families around as well. I think those are factors that could affect that too.
And then this is metro versus non-metro percentage of individuals who would accept a job outside of Nebraska if a suitable job was available. Again, more folks in the metro area willing to move than non-metro areas.
And so this one is percentage of job seekers who would accept a job outside of Nebraska if a suitable job was available. And so this is based on pay per hour. And so you could see that 40 plus per hour would be 48.3% of potential job seekers there. And then job seekers indicating that lack of job opportunities in their area was an obstacle. 40 plus per hour came out at 58.2% as well.
So, one of the things that isn't included in this study is folks from outside of Nebraska willing to move to Nebraska. So, obviously we don't have that data, but if it correlates to the Nebraska data, it seems like employers may be better off trying to recruit people in to Nebraska from some of the metro areas that are surrounding Nebraska. It seems like metro versus non-metro populations are more willing to move to another state, if this Nebraska data correlates to other areas. So maybe, and then also the wages. So maybe offering a good wage and recruiting from, Des Moines or Kansas City or something makes some sense to recruit people into Nebraska. And then this one is willingness to move based off of children and age. And so whether they have children in the household, obviously those kids are going to be connected with the local school system, with friends, all of those fun things that kids get connected with. And so decreases the likelihood that someone would be willing to move. And then also by age category, as people get a little bit older, it appears, they're going to be less likely to be willing to move. Except for it just continuously kind of decreases the likelihood as people get older that they're willing to move out of state.
And so for this regional labor market availability, potential job seekers were asked if they were offered a job in Omaha that met their most important criteria, if they would consider accepting it. And as you can see, Fremont came in with a 42.2% of saying yes, they would commute, and then 10.3% said they would relocate. And then 29.7% from Nebraska City said they would commute, and then 4.9% would relocate, which is a low amount there for relocating, but
good opportunity here to look at some areas that are not too far from Omaha to recruit talent from for some of the jobs that may be available in Omaha. So are there any additional questions for us today?
I know
Jasmin,
over a lot of good information, but we'll be able to provide these slides as well, just for future reference, or if you have any other questions after looking at it, we would be more than happy to answer them.
And I think on the next slide, we've got our contact information. So you can email us. You can go back. We'll make this video available on our YouTube channel as well as on our website. So you can go back and watch us present all over again if you really want to. Or you can send it off to others that may be of interest, or have interest in this topic. We're also happy to have those one-on-one conversations with you and talk through any of these data items that we talked about today.
We will also be, so our next topic for next month is posted on our website. If you're interested in continuing to attend these are they continue to be via Zoom. And so next month we will be having Steph Dunbeston from the reentry program with the Nebraska Department of Labor, and she's going to give an overview of the federal bonding program and provide you with tools and strategies to effectively increase fidelity bonding and providing support and breaking down those employment barriers as well, and tapping into this workforce that is able and available to start working right away. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that, and also about the work opportunity tax credit which is a federal tax credit available to employers for hiring those who are just as involved. So that's for next month. So make sure to tune in September 21st from 1 to 2, same place, same time. We'll
And then
see you then.
also, yeah, and then also with that too, on August 23rd, we're having a big job fair. If anyone wants to be a part of that job fair, you can email us as well. We can provide you more information, but a good portion of it is going to be focused on helping individuals with criminal background issues get connected with work opportunities. And so that's next week, August 23rd. There's still time to sign up. We've got a lot of great employers that are going to be there, but if someone wants to sneak in and get a table, we still have a couple tables that are left. That's free of charge. We don't charge employers for any of the stuff that we do with job fairs, but just email either of us and we'll get you connected.
Thank you everyone for joining, and hope you have a good rest of your day and stay cool because there's hot weather coming, unfortunately.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Bye.